Okay guys, we're ready to dive into real estate math. Now, I know some of you hear the word math and you get these flashbacks of high school algebra and geometry, and you remember sweating during those tests hoping you would pass. But let me dissuade some of your fears. Real estate math in real estate is very, very simple. If you know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, you're good to go. Remember, we're not figuring out warp drive or quantum physics or anything like that. Simple, basic math. The other thing you're going to need, of course, for your exams is a basic, simple calculator. I tell all the students, go to a 99-cent store if you don't happen to have one, and pick one up. Again, we just want to make sure it has simple functions. We don't need a scientific calculator, mortgage calculator, or anything like that. Now, most of the time, our phones have great calculators on them, but remember, we cannot use our phone during our exams. So, there are certain numbers and certain things we have to remember in real estate. Now, some of them you guys already all know. For instance, 12 inches equals a foot. 3 feet equal a yard. But there is one important number for your exams, guys, that you have to commit to memory. And that is how many square feet are in an acre of land. So, an acre equals 43,560 square feet. And you might say, how am I going to remember that big a number? Well, a few years ago they came up with this little mnemonic, and the mnemonic is 7-11. The 4 plus 3 equals the 7, and the 5 plus 6 equals the 11. Now, a few years ago, some students were having problems remembering which numbers came first. So I came up with a little mantra, and it goes like this. Where do you go to buy a Slurpee? Well, you go to buy a Slurpee at 7-11. Now, I went to 7-Eleven to get myself a Slurpee. Did I want a big one, a small one, a small one, a big one? I couldn't make a decision, so I left with nothing. So there you have the 4 and 3, the big one, the little one, the 5 plus 6, the little one, the big one, and the 0, nothing. All right? So that's a good way to remember how many square feet are in an acre. Now, let's look at an acreage problem. So, you might see a question on the test, something similar to this. A lot measures 200 feet wide by 474 feet deep. How many acres are in that lot? So the first thing we have to do is find out our square footage, right? How many square feet are in that lot? And we do that using our area equation, which is length times width, which is 200 feet times 474 feet. When we multiply that, we get 94,800 square feet. So then we simply divide. We take the 94,800 divided by our good friend, Mr. Acre, 43,560 square feet, and we're left with 2.176 acres, or we round up 2.18 acres. Okay guys, the second type of acreage problem you may see on your exams is something that goes like this. You have a 1 acre parcel of land whose width is 165 feet. What is the depth of the parcel? Alright, so we know the width is 165 feet and we need to find the depth. What else do we know? Well, we know that the lot is 1 acre, so we know our good friend Mr. Acre is 43,560 square feet. So this kind of turns into an area problem. And we know the area of a parcel is width times depth. So width is 165 feet. The depth, that's what we're trying to find out. So if we multiply the two of those, we get the acre, which is 43,560 square feet. So to simply do this, we take the acre, 43,560 square feet, and we divide by the 165 feet to get the answer of 264 feet. All right, let's move on to the next topic, commission. And I'm sure you're all interested in commissions, and there's a lot of different types of commission problems that you may see on your exam. Let's look at some. First one, Mr. Green, a real estate broker, earns a commission of $16,000 on a sale of the property. His rate of commission was 5.5%. What was the selling price of the property? All right, so let's look at it. Sales price times the rate of commission equals commission dollars. What do we know? We don't know the sales price, but we know the rate of commission and we know the dollars of commission. So what do? Well, we simply take the dollars of commission and divide by the rate of commission. In other words, the $16,000 divided by 5.5%. Now, I prefer to convert the percentage to decimal. So we simply take the dollars of commission and we divide by the rate of commission. So we have the 16,000 divided by 5.5%. Or I like to convert the 5.5% to a decimal. So 5.5% expressed in decimal is 0.055. So we now have $16,000 divided by 0.055. And when we put that in the calculator, we get $290,909.09. So the answer, which we would see on the exam, would probably be $290,909. All right, let's tackle another type of commission problem. The brokerage that you work for sells your listing for $350,000. The brokerage fee is 6%. Your split with your broker is 60-40. Hopefully you get to 60. What is your commission? So this problem has a few steps to it. Step number 1, we have to find out the total commission. All right. So how we do that is simply multiply the selling price times the brokerage commission. In this case, the $350,000 times the 6%, or 350 times 6% in decimal, 0.06 equals $21,000. That's the total commission. So step number 2, we have to find out what your commission is, right? So we know the total commission, $21,000. So to get your commission, we multiply that by your percentage that you receive, and hopefully you get that 60%. So 21,000 times 60% equals your commission, or again, 21,000 times, I like to convert to decimal, 0.60, 60% equals the commission. When we do the 350 times 0.06, we get $12,600, and that would be your commission. Okay guys, let's look at the next type of math problem, an assessment problem, tax assessment. Remember, the assessed value is the value used for real estate tax purposes. So let's look at the problem. A home was appraised for $72,000. The tax assessed value is 82% of the appraised value, and the tax rate is $1.33 per $100 of assessed value. What is the monthly payment for taxes? All right, so this is a multi-step problem. So the first thing we have to find out is, of course, what the dollar amount is for the assessed value. So to do that, we simply take the $72,000 and multiply it by 82%, or 0.82. When we do that, we get $59,040, and that is our assessed value that the assessor's office is going to use to generate the taxes. So now what do? Well, we have to apply the tax rate, and the tax rate is $1.33 per $100 of assessed value. So how I like to do these problems, guys, is take the $1.33 first. So what I do is I take the $59,040 and I multiply it by the $1.33. When I do that, it comes out to $78,523.20. Now, since it's $1.33 per 100, I take that number and divide it by 100, and I get $785.23. So after dividing by 100, I get $785.23. But remember, that is the annual taxes. What does the problem ask us for? It asks us for the monthly payment. So what do? I simply take the $785.23 and divide by 12 to get the monthly amount. So when I do that, $785.23, divide that by 12. When I put that in my calculator, I get 65.436, and I'm allowed to round up here. So the monthly taxes are $65.44. And that, guys, is a simple assessment problem. Okay, now let's look at another problem that you may see on your exam, but also we do use in real life. And this is how we figure out the square footage of an apartment, an office, or anything of that nature. All right, let's look at this shape on the board. Now, we can notice right away that this shape is neither a square, a rectangle, or a triangle. If we look at it, it really looks like it's a mishmash of a bunch of different shapes. So how are we going to figure out the total square footage? In order to figure out the square footage, we have to break this shape down into the components that we can understand. So if we make a line across the bottom, we now have what looks kind of like a square. And that square's dimensions are 25 feet by 25 feet. Now, if we chop off the nose, so to speak, we now have a rectangle that we see on the top has a length of 50 feet, but what is the width? Well, we know the whole side is 50 feet, and the part that's just a square is 25 feet. So we take 50 feet minus 25, so that part of the rectangle must be 25 feet. So we now have a rectangle that's 50 feet by 25. So, how do we now figure out the triangle? Well, the height's easy. We just transpose over the 25 feet to the other side, but how do we deal with the base? How do we figure out the base? Well, we can see the bottom side is 35 feet. The top side is 50 feet. And the bottom of the square is 25 feet. So, we know if we take 50 feet minus the 25 feet, we're left with 25 feet. But the long part of the base is 35 feet. So we simply take 35 minus 25 to get 10 feet. So we now have a triangle whose base is 10 feet and whose height is 25. So now we have all three shapes identified. Shape 1, which we'll call the square, which is 25 feet by 25 feet. Shape 2, which is a rectangle, which is 50 feet by 25 feet. And shape 3, which is our triangle, is 10 feet by 25 feet. So, how do we figure out? Well, again, the square, simple, 25 feet times 25 feet. So we do that in our calculator, and we have 25 times 25. So we have 625 square feet as the area of the square. So now we have to figure out the rectangle, and we have it as 50 times 25, or 50 feet times 25 feet, which is 1,250 square feet. All right? Now let's look at our triangle. We have the base of 10 feet, the height of 25. So remembering the equation, base times height divided by 2, we now have 10 feet times 25 feet, which gives me 250 square feet, but we now have to divide that by 2 to get 125 square feet. So, are we done? No, we have to find out the total square footage of this irregular office space. So we simply take the 125 plus the 1250 plus the 625, and we add them all together. So we have 125 plus 1250 plus 625 equals 2,125 square feet. So, next topic that you might see on your exam is what we call a linear measurement or perimeter measurement. So, an example of a question you may see is like so. A farmer has a rectangular lot measuring 175 feet by 250 feet. How much fencing is needed to fence in that lot? All right, so what we have to do with this problem, very simple, very straightforward, is to add the four sides of the perimeter together. I tell you to do that rather than twice one side, twice the other, because if you have an irregular lot, one side is a little larger than the other, it's better to do it this way. So we simply add the 175 plus the 250 plus the 175 plus the 250, we add them all together, and we get 850 linear feet, or 850 feet. Okay guys, now let's tackle a leasing problem. Leasing problem may look something like this. A office, which is 7,500 square feet, rents for $26 per square foot. What is the monthly rent of that office? So let's look at the problem. What do we know? Well, we know the square footage of the office, which is 7,500 square feet. We know that it rents for $26 per square foot. So, remember the equation when we do leasing. It's square footage multiplied by dollar per square footage, which gives us the annual rent. So we take the 7,500 square feet, We multiply it by $26 per square foot, and we get $195,000, which is the annual rent. But the question is for monthly rent. So what do? We simply divide the $195,000 by 12, and we get the answer, $16,250 per month.